All right, so get ready because we're diving into a story today. And it's a wild one. This one's got a little bit of everything. Political intrigue, little dash of scandal, and even a blast from the past with a certain somebody who made the jump from sportscaster to political commentator.
Okay, you're really piquing my curiosity now. Lay it on me.
Okay, so we are talking about Olivia Nuzzi, the political journalist. You've probably seen her work. Maybe you're even a fan. But recently, it's her personal life that's been making headlines, specifically her relationship with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Ah, yeah, RFK Jr.
Right. And this Daily Beast article from September 23rd really blew the whole thing wide open because it turns out Keith Olbermann himself actually confirmed that he and Nuzzi dated about a decade ago. And the timing of this is, well, let's just say it's very interesting considering the news about Nuzzi and RFK Jr. just broke.
Wow, okay. Talk about adding fuel to the fire. So it's like this blast from the past suddenly becomes incredibly relevant.
Right.
And you know what's really interesting about this is it's not just some random bit of trivia, It adds another whole layer of complexity here because we're not just talking about a reporter dating someone in the public eye. Nuzzi actually profiled RFK Jr. for New York Magazine.
Exactly. So now we have this revelation about her past with Olbermann.
It really makes you think about the connections and the dynamics at play in the world of media and politics. And this Daily Beast article really just throws open the doors and lets you peek inside.
It does, and it gets even more interesting. Because Olbermann claims that everyone knew about their relationship, even went so far as to call it wholesome. But I don't know about you. Considering their age difference back then, that comment definitely raised a few eyebrows for me.
Yeah, that definitely stands out, especially since this isn't even Olbermann's first high-profile relationship. He was linked to MSNBC anchor Katy Tur and even Senator Kyrsten Sinema in the past.
Yeah, it's like he's creating his own little black book of media and political figures.
It really makes you wonder about his motivations of putting this information out there.
Doesn't it? But we're going to get into that a bit later. First, I think we need to unpack the bigger implications of all of this. What does this mean for journalism? What does this mean for how we view these relationships? It's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. This whole thing really makes you think about how connected everything is these days.
It really does.
Like, how much do these personal relationships, particularly when we're talking about media and politics, how much do they really impact how we see things?
That's the question, isn't it? The lines are definitely blurry. More than they've ever been, I think, especially in these fields, where power and influence are so closely tied together.
Totally. So then how much does all of this interconnectedness, how does it affect how we even understand the news?
That's an important question because, when you see these personal connections, it's only natural to wonder about bias.
Right. Like if you know someone personally or you've got a history with them, does that change how you approach covering them as a journalist?
It's a tough one. It's something that I think journalists think about a lot, and there's no easy answer, It's not black and white.
So let's talk about Olbermann for a second. Because his decision to come out and confirm this past relationship with Nuzzi, it feels very calculated, like a power move almost.
It's definitely bold. And I think it speaks to the way he seems to operate. Like he knows how to work these circles of power. He's comfortable with the attention, even seems to enjoy it.
And remember, he's not just some former sportscaster. He's a political commentator with a huge platform. People listen to him. They follow him. So when he makes these kinds of statements, it makes waves.
Oh, absolutely. He's trying to control the narrative.
Which is its own kind of power when you think about it.
For sure.
Like he's coming out and saying, this is my story, and I'm telling it before anyone else can.
It's really something. Even though he's not on TV every night, he still has this influence.
He knows how to stay relevant, that's for sure, even if it means stirring things up a little. But how does this all connect back to Nuzzi and RFK Jr.?
Right, because at the end of the day, this Daily Beast article, it's not really about Olbermann's dating life, is it? It's about Nuzzi and RFK Jr. and how this whole thing with Olbermann just adds another layer to it.
Exactly. And I think that's why people are so interested in this. It's not just gossip. It's about the intersection of media and politics and personal lives and how those things are constantly bumping up against each other.
It's the world we live in now.
Yeah, it really makes you realize, these personal relationships, they aren't always just personal, are they? Especially in this world of media and politics. It's like the ripples just keep going.
It's not just about who knows who either, right? It's about how those connections, how they're perceived. Because it all ties into this idea of influence and access.
Exactly. And then how much does that perception, how much does it actually end up shaping what people believe?
It's huge. It's like that old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That still holds true, especially in these circles.
It's kind of fascinating and a little unnerving when you really think about it.
It definitely makes you think about things a little differently.
So where does this all leave us then? We've gone deep on this Nuzzi, RFK Jr., Olbermann triangle. What are your big takeaways?
I think it's a good reminder. The world of media and politics, it's rarely ever simple. There are always layers to the story.
Always something going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. And it's up to us to be aware of that, I think, as people who read these stories and listen to these podcasts.
To not just take everything at face value.
Right. We have to be willing to dig a little deeper, to question our own assumptions, and really think about the different motivations that might be at play.
Because sometimes the real story isn't the headline. It's everything that's happening behind the scenes.
Well said.
Well, on that note, I think we've done our due diligence for today.
I would agree.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. It's been real. Until next time.